Welcome to r/Entitled People, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. And today we have 4 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. At first, this Karen complained about the price and did not want the room, then changed her mind, but the room has already been sold, so she is left with nothing. The second story, entitled client is trying to pressure me to get advice for free. The third story, my petty revenge for my entitled neighbor. The fourth story, our neighbors are trespassing on our private property, harassing us, suing us for an amicable criminal offense, and finally we go to court with a package of evidence against them and win. The first story, the joys of working a hotel. So I work in a mid-range hotel. I'm 100% disabled per the VA, so I got that chunk of change coming in, and I like working nights, so I work as night auditor, mainly to keep me out of trouble, and lets me put my disability away while I use my paychecks to cover bills and all that fun stuff. So during the initial phase of COVID, when no one was going anywhere and basically becoming filter feeders, we were still renting rooms mainly to construction and some government people. Kept the lights on. They were good sports about not having a breakfast because, well, it's a pandemic and a buffet isn't really helpful for that. Just a bit of background. So enter 2021 and things are starting to loosen up. All those plans from 2020 that were pushed to 2021, and all the plans for 2021 means getting a hotel on a weekend is kinda like pulling hen's teeth. And if you're trying to book last minute, well, let's just say you better be prepped for sticker shock. Enter entitled Karen, EK, into the picture. She starts off by calling me. Thanks for calling Chain Hotel du Jour. How can I help you? EK. Hi, I just got into town and I need to rent a room for tonight and tomorrow night. Taking a relieved breath, because we can only rent rooms on weekends for a minimum of 2 nights. Me. I do have rooms available. What kind of room did you want? EK. I need a room where the king-size bed is in a separate room. Me pulling up the price. I have that available. The price is $319.99 plus tax per night. EK. I'm not going to pay that. You have to do better. Me. Well, I can add in an AARP discount which brings the rate down to $303.99 plus tax per night. EK. I've never paid that much. Click. At this point, had another call come in, and they booked my last available king for $319.99 per night. No questions asked. Figured EK got a room at a slightly lower rate hotel. Hotels that normally charge $60 to $90 per night, which are still running $200 per night. Well, I was wrong there. 30 minutes after she called, her and her husband show up. Older couple and got to love anyone wearing a MAGA hat, which they both were. EK. I guess we'll take that king room for $303 a night. Me. I'm sorry, but that room has been rented. EK. You must give us the room at the rate you quoted. Me. No, I told you over the phone I only had one room like that available. It's a first-come, first-served policy. EK. But I'm a super special member. You have to give me the room type I demanded. Me. No, I don't. You would have had to make the booking a minimum of 72 hours in advance, so we could make sure we could hold a room for you, but you didn't. However, if you still need a room for 2 nights, I do have a queen bed available for $292.99 plus tax per night. EK. Listen here, you high school dropout. I'm getting ready to lose my SH at this point. You're gonna give me a king room and I'm not going to pay over $150 per night. Enter my paying attention to their attire. Me. So you and your husband are Trump voters, correct? EK. And what if we are? Are you going to refuse us a room because you're a little snowflake? Me. Oh, of course not. I wouldn't be so cruel as to deny someone lodging or service based on their political affiliation or religious beliefs. So you're Republican, I take it? EK. Well, duh. Only a good American Republican would vote for Trump. Me. Well, Republicans believe in laissez-faire capitalism, that prices are set solely on supply and demand. There's a high demand for hotel rooms, so you've most likely found out when you were calling other hotels, $300 to $400 a night in a hotel like ours is the going rate. So you have the option to either accept the queen room I have at the $292 plus tax, or if you want a king-size bed that badly, I do have a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom suite that does have a king-size bed. It's as big as 2 king suites and queen rooms combined for $475.99, plus tax per night. EK. This isn't fair. This is profiteering. I'm gonna contact the Attorney General about this. So I get a notice there was another booking, and it was for my last queen room. Me, lips turning into an evil smile. I'm sorry, ma'am, but if you do want to book a room, the only room I have available is the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom suite at $475.99 per night. I even turned my monitor to show her the available room I have. EK, well, I want that room at the $303.99 you quoted to me before. Me, I'm sorry, but I can't discount that room, seeing how it already comes at a hefty discount of 24%. Standard rate for a king, $319.99, and standard rate for queen, $304.99, not including tax. EK, she's starting to scream now and hubby is looking for an exit. This is BS. You're not gonna have a job when I get done, and what are you gonna do then? Me, I'd probably just move to Belize and live out my days drinking daiquiris on the beach, because I'm a disabled vet, and I put away every disability check I've received over the last 26 years into savings. EK, oh, you're not EK, oh, you're not a disabled vet. You don't look like you've served a day in the military. Now I'm livid, and I pull out my wallet, pull out my VA card, and slam it down in front of her. Me, go ahead and read it out loud underneath my name. EK, disabled vet, Purple Heart. Me, now that we've established I'm not lying, you can kindly vacate the property before I call the police. You can get a room across the street. Their rate is $399.99. Have a nice day. We're owned by the same franchisee, so we know each other's rates. EK slinks out of the lobby, and my night feels a lot better. The second story is, no free advice here. It's my business. Whilst I work in the world of employee now, for a period I was a self-employed consultant. As a consultant, I had business indemnity, so each job that I received payment for was covered if there was a problem. I wasn't going to give advice for free. If they make a mistake implementing free advice and then come back to me looking for money to correct it, I was not going to cover that. Free advice people suck your time away. Good friends and clients would always pay me, and I was happy to offer a discount to those that were repeat business. Or, as was my specialty, friends starting up their business who had no idea what they were doing. The only exception to this was where I once had a 15-minute call with a friend who was having a breakdown over GDPR and about to throw in the towel on their business. I calmed them down, reminded them that they were completely compliant, and gave them a hug over the phone. They sent me an enormous bunch of flowers to thank me, and then contracted me for a number of pay gigs. This particular instance was not like that. I mentioned to a friend that her website was not GDPR compliant. She didn't understand what I meant, so she got her husband to call me and he decided to try to pick my brains over it. I asked him straight if he was looking for an action plan to correct it. He said yes. I told him that my fees were on my website and he could go on there, see my availability, and book a consultation. He said that he just needed the action plan so his web designer could implement it. No problem, I said. That option is on the website to purchase and book. Can't you just tell me over the phone what I need to do? No, I can't. An action plan is an hour consultation, and 30 minutes type up, which will cost you X pounds. Oh, I don't need all that. Just tell me what to do now and my web designer can update it as part of my contract. So, because he was being purposefully dense, dealt with my father long enough to know weaponized incompetence, I spelt it out loud and clear. No, to go through all the things that need to be corrected in order to make your website GDPR compliant would take an hour. I suggest that you go back to your web designer and get them to sort them out as a part of your contract. He tried to press again, about just telling him over the phone, and I knew he was not going to accept my no, so just finished it with, look, I don't do free advice because my insurance won't cover my indemnity for it. I really don't have time now to do a paid consultation meet with one of my paying clients shortly, and I need to prepare. Catch you later, and put the phone down. His wife contacted me later to apologize. She just wanted me to tell him it was not compliant, as he wouldn't believe her, and she thought he'd believe me as that was what I did for a living. She and I are still friends. I don't talk to him under any circumstances. The next story. Neighbor parks his car and blocks my exit. Don't mess with a woman scorned. This happened about 5 years ago when I moved into a wheelchair-friendly unit. I'm a 29-year-old disabled female in a wheelchair. The unit complex I live in has 20 units, upstairs and down, but only half the tenants have assigned parking. I have a car space, but this neighbor didn't. It took a while for tenants to get used to this. It was a brand new complex, and the tenants all moved in at the same time. But one of them, let's call him D, either didn't get it or didn't care. He would constantly park in my car space, and every time I confronted him about it, he claimed not to know, but he'd park there anyway. I informed the landlords about this and they sent out constant letters until he finally got the message. But did he park on the street? Nope. He started to park his car along the driveway, sometimes blocking my exit. To get out of my door, I go down a ramp and then turn onto the driveway, but he would park his car and block my exit. There was no back exit, so this was my only way to exit my place. I told the landlords about this, and the council parking officer in hopes they could make him stop doing this. I confronted D a few times and told him not to do this, and warned him that his car might get damaged if I try to get my wheelchair around it. But did he listen? Nope. One glorious day when I needed to leave, I saw his car parked halfway across my exit. There was just enough room for me to get around, but I knew I would scrape the side of his car with the side of my power wheelchair if I tried to get around it. I had two options: stay home and miss my appointments or try and get around his car. I went with option B. Before he had a go at me for damaging his car, it was an old beat-up tin can that already had some scratches on it. What's one more? When I got home, his car was still parked there. So I called a tow truck company and told them there was a car parked illegally, blocking access to my home. I don't like using my disability to my advantage, but I'd had enough. The call went something like this. Me, hello? Yes, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm in a wheelchair and I can't get into my house because there's a car parked there. It's my neighbor and he won't stop parking there. I need to get inside. OMG, what? What's the address? We'll be right there. 10 minutes later, the tow truck arrived. He saw the car and me, stuck out in the driveway with tears, dramatized for effect in my eyes. Not long before the driver was about to tow the car away, D came out screaming, "Wait, what are you doing? That's my car." The rest was D yelling inaudible sentences, asking why his car was being towed, and threatening to sue the tow truck company. Based on the crap fest of a tin can he calls a car, he didn't have a leg to stand on. He moved away about 2 years ago, but in the remaining time he lived there, he parked his car on the street. The next story is We Won, a story of hope after 6 months of hell. I'm so relieved to say that today we won, as defendants against a frivolous lawsuit by our neighbors against us. They moved in 2 years before us. They were aware when we moved in that they were unlawfully encroaching on our backyard. We spent months in countless emails, meetings, etc. to discuss correcting their unlawful encroachment. They would not agree to anything less than continuing their unlawful encroachment. A winter storm made the already dilapidated old fence encroachment a clear safety hazard. I got full permission from our local Department of Building and Safety and followed our official county corner record survey to the letter. I got permits even though not required to and got them finalized. The neighbors did everything they could to delay construction, calling the police every time I started, until the police told them to stop. They made multiple false reports to the Department of Building and Safety, which were all proven false. They threatened me with a firearm and made racist verbal assaults on our friends and family. They chased my dad via automobile and stalked me throughout my days. They brought a criminal case against me, from which I was exonerated. When that failed, they filed a small claims lawsuit for $10,000 sitting lost wages and pain and suffering. We spent a month preparing for court, which was today. The neighbors escalated stalking when they were served with our evidence packet. They arrived at small claims court today in full suits, her in 5-inch heel with a fake hot pink Birkin. They alleged that I defamed his good name by saying he hated LGBTQ people and caused damage to their property value by correcting their unlawful encroachment. They presented no evidence. The judge found in our favor. It all turned out okay. They were classic bullies. All intimidation and no follow-through. Fingers crossed that this is the end. We're going to move temporarily in hopes that they forget all about us or move themselves. And the last story is, I know the owner. Yeah, okay, buddy. Call the owner then. Still managing at the time, a customer who had ordered through a third-party app received 2 soups without noodles. During Passover, we do not serve noodles in traditional soups. He called to complain, called us stupid and said, "I guess I should take this up with Ira," in his most entitled voice. We don't call them Karen at my job, by the way. We call them Phyllises, and this guy was being a real effing Phyllis, so I told him not to call Ira, who happens to be the former owner. Due to very early Alzheimer's, now his son runs the place. Because Ira was actually one of the high tops and could speak with him right away. Ira has memory problems and had no idea who this customer was and has a habit of telling the same stories over and over when he's on the phone. The customer ended up having to hang up after about 30 minutes of Ira talking about his life growing up in Germany, his career as a musician and then the owner of our famous local restaurant, and eventually telling the customer about Jewish traditions. Ira turned around and said, "Who is that?" He just hung up, laughed and walked back to his table. Subscribe, hit the like button, and have a nice day.